guys, this is Chaya Garcia, relationship therapist for before and during marriage. So I touched upon this last night, but I just want to repeat it or just elaborate on it because it's really profound, and it's something that personally took me a hot minute, as they say, or a long time to really master. And now, thank God, I'm a master at it, and I love that I'm able to do what I know is best for me, and I have the tools on how to do that, and I'm not afraid of protecting myself, and I feel safe honoring who I am and what my needs are. But that took time, and so what I spoke about briefly in the last video was just that against advice, because most people suck at giving advice, so you shouldn't listen to people if it goes against what you need or what you think is right for you. I was advised to allow someone to stay in my home because it was only a short time and because this person was significant in our lives. And so, they're just like, oh, it's just a little bit of time. It's important to them, like, make them happy. They're close to us. Like, it's just a little bit of a whole year. And while that logic makes sense, that it's important to please people and honor people, especially people who are of value to us, it doesn't necessarily mean that we should suffer or not be okay in the process of helping or pleasing people. So what I did was, just to update, the continuation was, I thought about it and I sent a voice note saying nothing but my truth. And I wanted to share that with you guys because so many times when we don't want to do something, we make excuses, which is so kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like, well, if you get off the plane, you're gonna have to quarantine, and then I won't be able to leave my house, and that won't work for me. And the truth is, it didn't have to do with it, although that was like a side point. That was an excuse. What it had to do with was, I don't want people in my space because I'm sensitive and I didn't grow up with people in my home, so it's not something comfortable for me. And while that's normal and natural for other people, it's not normal and natural for me, and I don't function well when people are in my space because it's just something of how I developed and who I am. And so what I said was just my truth, which is, I don't feel comfortable having someone in my space for such a prolonged period of time. And I didn't make excuses, and I didn't beat around the bush, and I didn't say what they wanted me to say for them. And that was like such a big moment, because it's just too easy to make excuses for why we don't want to do something, and or just do something to please someone else, so it's not to piss them off or that we're afraid that they're going to be upset with us. But instead, I spoke my truth, I held my ground, and I used the words just to be clear. And I think that was just really imperative for me to say just to be clear, because so many times if we give people the maybe, if we say, oh, maybe it's going to work out, then the person on the other side who wants it is really, really hoping that it's gonna work out. And if you say maybe, but in your mind that it's a no, you're not doing a service to any single person who's involved, because you're not giving yourself the safe space to not engage in something you don't want, and you're giving the other person false hope that something is gonna happen that they want, but in actuality, it's probably not gonna come to fruition. So beating around the bush, saying maybe, giving excuses for things you don't want to do versus saying I don't want to do it, are all these really big areas that we can always work on. And when you say I don't want to do something, that in itself holds space, and holds really, really important space. Because if you just feel safe with someone to say I don't want to do this, if they're healthy and they respect you, then they'll say, yeah, I totally get it. Sometimes I don't want to do something. And if they don't respect you and say, whatever, how can you want this if it's not what I want? Then anyways, you were going to have conflict in that relationship. So the truth is really that it's important for you to come on your own, into your own, and feel safe expressing what you want and what you don't want without having to make excuses, so that people can be clear in who you are, what you want, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and then give you the space to do that, or not give you the space to do that, and then you'll know that person doesn't respect your boundaries, and anyways that relationship was gonna have a healthy unraveling and nothing great was gonna come to fruition from there. So I give you guys all a blessing that you really, really find your truth, that you feel what you want to do and not want to do, and feel what's safe to you and what's not safe to you, and really honor that. And when you need to get out of something, don't make excuses and say like, oh, but this and that and other thing. Find, if you can feel comfortable enough saying, I'm overwhelmed, this is not something that I want, I'm not okay with this, it makes me uncomfortable. And instead of trying to give an outside excuse that maybe someone else would understand better, you use an inside excuse, because A, it's your truth, and B, they can't really argue with that as much as they want to. If you give an outside excuse, they can say, oh, but that doesn't matter, I can come later, I can come before, I'll stay here, I'll stay there. But when you speak your truth, there's no way to really, there's no other place to go from there, because it's not a battle. It's just, this is what is, this is who I am, this is what I can do, this is what I can't do. And you'll see very quickly who can honor that and who can't. So I hope that you can honor yourself and give yourself love and give yourself respect. And I just want to end with this. When people say, you know, oh, that person doesn't respect my boundaries, that person didn't respect me, that person totally crossed my boundaries. Most of the time you allowed them to cross your boundaries. Most of the time you didn't respect yourself and you didn't respect your own boundary. So stop people blaming and saying the world doesn't take care of you or respect your boundaries, and start taking care of yourself and respecting your own boundaries, because no one can push you past what you truly believe is important to you. And if you make it a concrete value and a concrete boundary, then they don't have the option to cross it, because you don't allow them, because you don't give them the space to say, okay, that's okay, you can go further. And so just to bring back the energy to yourself and the empowerment to yourself, don't allow people to cross your boundaries or say people are disrespecting you. You can respect yourself, you can love yourself, and you can give yourself a voice of truth and a voice where you feel that you are truly, truly, truly doing the best for yourself and what will give you joy and comfort and safety. So go for it. So I hope you have a great day and learn that you're safe to speak your mind and find the